to share a designing tool that I think is very useful. This is not a smart app for your smartphone, neither something for your computer. What you're going to use here is only your imagination, your great ideas, and your smartest tool of them all, your brain. I call this tool triangulation. And I think you use the term triangulation in many different parts of the business world. But this tool is a tool where you take a theme and then you have some words, and then you use these words to generate some great ideas. And I would like to illustrate it here. So a triangulation is a way where you use the triangle and in the middle you write the theme that you're going to design for. And for this one I'm going to make a design for a late night smoky jazz club. So that is the vibe I need to get into my design. But I also need to think about other things. And when I design, I always think about texture. I think that's very important. I think about silhouette, also important, and color. And then I have 3 other themes. I think these are almost always the same, but these 3 themes is made from my my brainstorm. So I made a brainstorm, I mapped out all my feelings, my thoughts, and what I got inspired from, and then I put it into categories. And the 3 categories that spoke the most to me was ocean, 1950s, and classic menswear. So now I'm adding these 3 themes like this. And this means that I need to make a design with the silhouette inspired by the ocean, color from classic menswear, and texture from the 1950s. I always make very quick sketches. I'm not a very good drawer, but this could be something like this. For me, the ocean is very flowy, and it would be things with a lot of drapery. Here we have a jumpsuit with some drapey down at the front, going down over one side of the lower body. And here we have something that is very sleek and simple at the body, but then we have this very wide drapey back. The color, if it's going to be classic menswear, I would choose maybe blue, navy, you know, all the classic colors. Maybe I would choose a stripe. I think that could be very interesting. And for texture, we have the 1950s. And for me, the 1950s is actually not a very flowy decade. It's a very crispy decade, in my opinion. So I would maybe choose a classic color and make a flowy design and try to incorporate some crispy material. You can also change these. So we could go like silhouette, classic menswear, color, ocean. No, I think texture should be ocean. And then I think color should be 1950s. And then I need to go in a whole other direction, because now we need a much more structural silhouette, because you cannot make a flowy silhouette from a classic menswear, because classic menswear has a lot of structure. We go here, where I have, again, very, very, very quick sketches. I have something with, I need to make something with a lapel. I need to make something with a kind of a broad shoulder, but I need it to be feminine. Then I have the ocean as a texture, and for me that is again something very soft, a drapey texture. It could also be something with beads, or something with a texture and a rough surface. It could be in a crepe. And then the colors is 1950s, and for me the colors of 1950s is these pale colors. And I actually like this, I really like this triangle with the classic menswear, because we have a sharp silhouette with the ocean as the texture, with a more flowy feel. And then we have the 1950s color, because this is very masculine and edgy. I think this is very soft, and I think this is very fun. But every time I do this, I need to think of this, because this is the setting that I'm going to design for. I have found something that I would like to aim for, and this is my silhouette. I like it to be a more soft male silhouette, a more relaxed silhouette. And I think this guy defines it very well. He still have a softness around the legs, but he has the broad shoulder and the big lapel. And then I like these colors. This is from an old Danish magazine from 54. And I really like this. I think it's so defining from the 50s. I think the soft colors and the combination of yellow and red and blue, I think this is very 50s in my opinion. And then we have the texture, and I have this silk, and I think silk is the most flowy material, and I think you could do something very interesting with this texture. So I'm going to make a soft classic menswear inspired silky fun colored outfit. So this is one of the many ways that you can work with a design tool. You know, when you work, you need to go through the 5 steps that I explained in an earlier video, and this is the middle step, and I call this step tell a story. So this is how I use the triangulation, and I think it's a very fun way to approach the design. It's very different from person to person what words they use. I am very inspired by the vintage vibe, by past decades, and that is something that's always present in my designs. And that is also why I often use old magazines and pictures from the past, but I think it's also important to put something more modern into a design to make it a bit more interesting. You can use this for a whole collection, or you can use it just to generate a very good idea for one specific garment. It's up to you. I just think it's a very fun way to work differently and not be too influenced by something that is already made. Because that is something that I also do. I find something that I like and I recreate it, but sometimes you can make something very interesting by just give yourself some time to be a bit more creative. That was all from me today. Have a nice day.